Mm-hmm. Yeah. And welcome back to New Realities. I'm Alan Steinfeld, and I am here with an old friend who I haven't seen really since, when was that interview we did?
I don't know, 2006 in New York, maybe?
Could have been, yeah, 2006. So this is a bunch of years later, and here we are talking about the same thing. I first heard about Jasmuheen when people I knew were doing the no eating process, which is really essentially living off light. I also want to say Jasmuheen is going to be one of the keynote speakers at the upcoming Contact in the Desert, which is an online event from June 24th to the 27th. Go to contactinthedesert.com. A whole bunch of UFO speakers, including the people I've been with here in Sedona, the JJ and Desiree Hurtak and Nick Pope, Linda Moulton Howe, really the best. And I'm so happy they've included you this year, Jasmuheen. So I didn't know when you started the Living on Light process that there was a ET connection. Can you talk about your ET connections and what that meant?
Yeah, I put this little painting behind me, or this, imaging of energy patterns behind me. And if you have a look, you can see this point of light in the center of the circle. And many people, they think they're just this point of light, and that point of light is very transfixed by the dual-natured world or hologram. But, when you go into silent stillness and meditation and you want to know, to experience who you really are, that all the other patterns around that central point reveal themselves. And I was quite shocked at what revealed itself to me, because I started with a pattern of energy for 20-something years with the Vedas. And the Vedic teaching is all about self-knowledge, self-mastery, self-responsibility. But as you absorb and integrate one pattern of energy, then you're done, and you vibrationally match with the next pattern, and then vibrationally match with another and another. And so when this whole source feeding reality kicked in, it came with the Ascended Masters. And it came with Serapis Bey, and it came with Saint Germain, and all of these people who know these ones. And then when I integrated all of their intense overseeing, you could say, and pushing me onto the global stage to share about this experience, which I was very ill prepared for, because I couldn't explain the science of it, or I really didn't know. I just knew it had happened. Didn't know how it had happened or the science of it. And then before I knew it, I was working with the Intergalactics and the Intergalactic Federation and the beings from the unified realm. And it was just like one pattern, then another pattern, then another pattern, like this picture. And it's like, wow, I love it. It's exciting. It's interesting,
But what was it that, I think you did a dark room, is that what kicked off this awakening? What started you on the journey? Or did you come in that way?
Okay, so I love these opportunities to share, and I just trust that what comes through is for the highest good of all. And I watched on Gaia TV recently this show on the Ascension keepers. And as I was watching it, it was like I could track so much in my own life. And, where did it start? With the Essenes. For me, we lived, I have full memory of so much of that life, because in that pattern of energy, there's simultaneous time. And we can tap into everything we need that's relevant to who we are on Earth today and what we've been born to do. So in the Essene community, the angelics were there. We walked. It was like a cosmic way station, a portal. And so we had a lot of light beings coming in and sharing of how they lived with free energy. And the greatest free energy is what the Essenes would say, the way of love. or what others would call the Christed consciousness, which is in us.
Right. So we've been talking about ascension for a long time now, and I somehow feel I'm not any closer to it. I may even be further away from, you first hear about the body turning into light and the expansion of consciousness, and it's possible because it's in our DNA. And then life happens, and then all the stuff of the world and involvements and connect. But I don't feel personally like I'm closer to that. Maybe you do because you've focused on it. Tell me your process in this ascension to light evolution we're in.
Well, I think, somebody made a comment on my YouTube channel on something I was sharing, that they felt we were being condescending because we talk always in the we. And I mentioned before we began that, I was offered the chance to leave my body at the beginning of this millennium, when this world disappeared and I went beyond mind. And I don't even know where I was, but my husband was with me. We're in a really powerful energy field of pure-hearted, open-minded people. And there was sacred song and music and movement and light. And I just surrendered and went into absolute bliss of like, now moment awareness. It's like, that's the key, now moment awareness. Anyway, I must have just somehow expanded out, and my husband just squeezed my hand as if, what's going on? And the squeeze dropped me into another zone, and in that zone were all these beautiful beings of light, and they just said, come on. And it's like, come on, where? And they said, well, your work's done on Earth. And it's like, hang on a minute, what? You're saying it's time to go? I don't know about this. Can I think about it? And as I tuned in to the future of things, I could feel grandchildren who weren't born yet as souls coming in. And I kind of got excited and I went, oh, I haven't been a grandmother this life. Can I stay? And, they just let me sit with it for a while and said, of course. Then, one thing led to another. I said, well, you've got to give me a new job then. If this job of releasing the possibility by living it of source feeding is done, because it's vibrating all the way through the world and people are doing what they need to do with that, they're aware it's possible, then give me another job. And they just said, prepare them for contact. And I just got so excited. But they also began to teach me a lot more about holographic creation. And this world of duality, it's so mesmerizing, and you can get so deep into it because we are in this mixed master blend of a new pattern of energy merging with an old pattern. And anything in the old pattern that doesn't match the frequency of the new pattern is going to be like... And so right now on Earth, you can go, oh, and get so caught up and mesmerized, but we can drop out of that. And that's what my light being friends say, just step out of the hologram. Give yourself a rest. And the way we step out of the hologram is just let it all go. Go into stasis, which is silence, stillness, solitude. Go to the breath. Just be aware of what breathes us. Go back to awareness of the formlessness that vibrates through our form and rest there. And there all is perfect. And then you see the big picture. You can relax.
And you're there at moments, but the thing is, then we have to talk and become egoic. And then when we speak, it's like the vastness collapses into the smallness. Would you say?
Almost. No, because see, look, I like this scarf. I wear it sometimes because there you have this solidity, which is our zone of duality where we feel physical, and yet then we have this other web, the web of one, where that web is part of this too. And it's like we're this pinprick at this point here in this web of one, but we're also the whole web. So I never feel, the more we spend time in now moment awareness and we consciously go into the merge state of the whole web, the more we find we can be anywhere in any situation and nothing's really a problem, because we're not this pinprick personality, egoic nature. We're this vast, multi-dimensional beingness of formlessness, of which one drop expresses in this form. And it's lovely.
Like the little picture behind you, that point.
Yeah.
Because, I put an asterisk in the title of my book. It's making asterisk contact. And the publisher said, what is that about? The people don't know what that means. Why are you putting a symbol in there? And I said, because that is really how we understand the world, symbolically, through the illusions of association. And I think this is how the ETs are really talking to us, not in words, but in these images, like that point behind you, or like the asterisk in my title of my book. I said, that is the point of contact. That point, that abstract symbol of that's undefinable, is how contact is made. It's undefinable, is my sense. What's your sense? Like, so you were given the assignment after you spread source energy, living off of that, which was incredible. It swept the world. You had many people, thousands, realizing that they didn't need food to live. And you had completed that and you went all over the world. Some good friends of mine were doing that and really benefited. And so this next assignment about introducing contact, without giving your whole talk away, what does it mean? Because contact has already been made here in many ways.
Exactly. I know. And, it's funny because source feeding is about contact and it's about dominance. It's about the contact, number one, as per the Gnostics and the Cathar teaching and the Essene teaching, which we're just carrying on from our experience in those communities, because most of us talking about this today have had training in linear time in these communities. And the first contact always is the contact, as Socrates said, as man, know thyself. Like, who are you? What is breathing you? What is the formlessness? My interest in the science of the highlight science is, what are the attributes of the vibration of the formlessness that pulsates through the 99.99999% space in our atomic structure? Because when I flipped into source feeding, I had no idea the science of it. But I want to know. When people ask me, how is this possible? I want to be able to have good intellectual, educational, holistic educational programs and understanding, because fear, people get afraid when they're ignorant, but when we get good education, we lose our fear, and that means holism, holistic education. So the first contact is know that which breathes us, know the power, the love, the benevolence, the wisdom that vibrates through the formlessness and vibrates through us and all around us, what brought the quantum field into its state of being, the unified field of infinite potential. And so I've been exploring this for a long time. What are the attributes of the formlessness? And one of the things I've discovered is benevolence. It is so benevolent, but this benevolence is triggered only when we really are in that heart space of, I really want to know. And we're not just in mental curiosity. Because I've noticed many people, even in source feeding, have gone, ooh, this sounds interesting, I'll do it. And then they get into trouble because the system's not ready. You've got to be in this, I am really open to experience the truth of who I really am, to experience the truth of all the wisdom of all the spiritual traditions, to not just read about it, but to experience it, to go deep into this wisdom. And in that, I will discover the freedom matrix that's part of our body of light. And so we're hardwired in the body of light for different levels to blossom when we come into the right state of open-mindedness, open-heartedness, because the two go together. And then it's like, oh, wow, I didn't know I had that inside. Wow, I didn't know I had that inside. And one of the zones we have inside is what I call the Hall of Communion. And that's where you frequency match with different beautiful beings from many different zones. I can't hear you, Alan. You're on mute.
Thank you. I'm here. Okay. So tell me about that, because I just muted because there was some background noise. But dropping into that space, I mean, you're saying the word. I'm trying to get what that experience, how do we drop into that state of oneness where we are in contact? I mean, you can sit still and you can meditate, but I think you're talking about a deeper state that you're connected to.
Yeah. You know, like, because I have been 30 years in this field of research, of really trying to understand the science of source feeding, and also too, just the science of zone changing. Because when we know this, we know multidimensional existence, that every zone, every dimension is overlaid. Everyone's always shared of that in esoteric sharing, that it's all here now. But like attracts like, that's universal law. You know, we are systems of energy, and we're transmitting out signals into the field that allow the quantum nature of existence to respond in what I call biofeedback looping through the torus pattern. So you send it out, your track-like frequencies comes back, you're flooded with the frequencies of whatever you can attract back into your field. And so you become very aware of, okay, what zone do I want to live in? And that's what the visionaries and the telepaths and, you know, those people can say, well, I found this state. Like, many people were deeply affected by Be Here Now, or The Power of Now, should I say, both books. And many people went, wow, because Eckhart went into the most amazing zones, got blasted by it, didn't know what had happened, and then spent a long time integrating and then sharing about this. And so you need people to go, wow, this is my experience. And that's what contact in the desert is so, you know, beautiful about now, because there's a lot more focus on the experiences and what people are tapping into. But I like it simple. And my Light Being friend said, look, it's just identification. You can identify with your human egoic nature and go, I'm a bit crazy, the world's a bit crazy, because you're living in what they call a 3-level hologram that just deals with the physical body, the emotional body, and the mental body. But we have to go into other levels, and that is the etheric nature of our own being, the formlessness that vibrates through us. So they just gave me a very simple formula, because I like it simple, to answer your question, and that is name it and claim it and be it. Name it and claim it and be it. So this goes back to what we always talk about, and that is, what are the attributes of the one, the formlessness, the perfected self, the ascended self, the pure self? Number one, pure love. From the love came the light, the sacred geometric patterns that brought creation into being. From the love came this light. From this light came all the wisdom to bring creation, the energy patterns to bring creation into being in its vast, infinite, multidimensional expression. So what if when you sit to meditate, you make it simple and you just, I am on the inhale, pure love on the exhale, I am on the inhale, infinite on the exhale, I am on the inhale, eternal on the exhale. And that naming and claiming lets you relax, relax, relax. And this pure part of you rises because you're focusing on it. It goes, yes, you are. Now feel this love. Now hear this wisdom. Now feel this power. Now feel the vastness of who you really are beyond this pinpoint of expression of this solid form in which all you are flows through and dwells.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Because as you're speaking, you're actually transmitting, right?
Yeah.
So, but the other interesting thing about being etheric and being back to the one, you have to also be so grounded in form. You can't return to the one until you become the not one, the self, the individualized separateness. And there's something about that ascension process where we take the body back into the light. So people have been doing that with their minds and a lot of Buddhist traditions and all that, but I think they forgot the essential component about embodiment, the grounding of love into solidity. Talk about that, how important the body is to love and nourish.
Yeah, look, I've realized that with the lifestyle we teach on, if people go on to our jasmuheen.com website, you'll see online courses. And one of the things that we realized over time with working with hundreds of thousands of people, because we have shared this possibility of source feeding through all the media we did, and got punched back about, discredited by as well, But over 1 billion people have had this reality kind of floated around, many saying, no, it's not possible, because they don't understand the complexity of their own pattern of energy. They just think they're this pinprick personality self, They're in the, I'll believe it when I see it, and I don't believe this. That's okay. So I asked our light being friends, come on, we need a formula for this, ABC. And it is about lifestyle, coming back into lifestyle. And it's our lifestyle, how we choose to spend our time, that determines our vibrational keynote signature, which then determines how the quantum field, the unified field of infinite potential, is going to interact with us. It's all about our frequency. And so many people go into the intellectual understanding, as I spent many years working in China, and they're always the Buddha sutras are the wisest and most incredible, and they're studying the Buddha sutra. But you've got to embody it. You've got to be in the zone of virtues, you've got to come into heart, not just brain. Intellect is great, but you've got to have that balance of left brain and right brain and the harmonic of the logic and intuition in the self, and when that's in balance, the heart is like, yes, I'm really ready. Like, I am really ready now to up-level my whole energy system into the next perfect pattern of a more enlightened evolution. I am ready to up-level now into the unified realms where harmony and peace and bringing out the best in each other and holding mutually beneficial relationships is the norm. This, what the holy ones call the first kingdom. And, this first kingdom was when the Gaia field of consciousness became ready for our curious exploration as star beings because we're all came from the stars. And when we were ready to step deeper into physicality and density to experience what this body does, these five senses. But the thing is, we all got so mesmerized by the beauty of the Gaia field, we forgot to phone home. You know, we disconnected, and it's like when we first came in, we're on regular telepathic contact awareness of our star being family and where we descended from, because we're still there. You know, we never left those zones at all. But now we're in physical earth, and we're so mesmerized by the beauty of creation, and then we start co-creating holographically in this zone of density. We get so caught up in it, we just forget the vastness of who we really are. And now it's remembering. But, you know, I've been meditating for over 50 years, and boy, can you experience a lot in silence, stillness over 50 years. And I got to a point where I was more relating to the formlessness and the fact that I am the all that is, as we are all the all that is, because my essence is your essence and everyone else's. But the light beings have to say, Jazz, you're also on planet Earth for a reason. So get yourself back while you exist simultaneously everywhere, but get yourself back to your body and be in your body and enjoy what this world is offering with the awareness of who you really are.
Right. So why do these other beings, because we've always been doing that. There's always been meditation. There's been mystery schools. There's been, you know, the personal ascension. But there's something else that's happening now, it seems. And let's talk about that. Why do these beings want us to wake up? Why is it important to them? Why did you get the mission to do that? How are we going to do this? How are we going to go about this huge global transformation? But just talk about who these beings are and why they care so much.
Okay, so you see this pattern of energy. Well, what about this one? You know, this is another pattern of energy, and we all have this unique. Put
that up again. I just want to see that very clearly. I see. Yes. Okay. Nice.
Everybody has this individual pattern of energy that in the web of one is part of a much greater pattern. And so, you know, a lot of people don't relate to me at all, because my pattern of energy is not near in the vibratory field of their pattern of energy. We have different work to do. Similarly, with our light being friends, who you will connect into, who you will work with, who you will play with depends on many things. One is your pre-descension, pre-embodiment agreements. And you can research this with Dolores Cannon's work, with Dr. Michael Newton's work as clinical hypnotherapists. And they hypnotize so many people with an idea of the life between lives. And what did you agree to deliver and receive? Because I believe that our coming to Earth is about giving gifts and receiving gifts. You know, Gaia has given us this collection of molecules and a body and elements, so like we're her children, so we can experience density and play and create. But we also come to receive a lot and give a lot. And what we're coded to bring in depends on many, many factors, and who we're going to reconnect with depends on many things. But I think it's just our heart has brought it into being, you know, the harmonic convergence. 87, right. We had so many people gathering, praying for us to go into a more enlightened state of evolution. And that triggered so much. 2012, same thing. Our prayers have opened up an answering field from intelligences who are existing in the zone we would like to gravitate into. And so they're merging now in response to us, because they run the pattern of non-interference.
And who are these beings, really?
Lots, all star systems. That's what I'm saying. some people, like I like the work of Adam Apollo, Adam,
Yes.
like me, remembers so much. And you have this energy trail behind you in linear time of all your embodiments on Earth, which is changing clothes, spirit's the same. And then you have not just on-planet embodiments, you have off-planet. I like the off-planet. I've had a lot more embodiments off-planet than on-planet. And some people have been here for thousands of
what do you remember from your off-planet embodiments that you could bring to Earth and share with us? Yes.
Yeah, that's why I mention this, or we mention this, because this is dependent then on who you connect with and the family. Like the first ones I connected into was the Arcturian star system, because I took my training as a higher light scientist from the last embodiment, or linear time, you could say, that I had before coming to Earth. I got trained in Arcturian system. For Adam, he remembers Sirian system, but also Andromeda and others. And what I'm noticing now is that people will reconnect generally with what feels to be family from the system they were spending some time in and enjoying before they decided to extend into Earth to play the game of physicality here. So you can't say, well, this one way or these ones are going to connect, because you might connect with the Orion system, the Andromedan system, the Pleiadian system, the Sirian system, Arcturus. I've connected in with the Lords of Peace and the Intergalactic Federation on the Venus, much, much higher dimension, but obviously.
You were given this assignment to, and now what is it? So here you are, and I'm just, what exactly are you hoping to do? How can you wake people up? Like, you've woken people up to the source energy, which was amazing. It was a revolution. How are you putting together this next revolution?
Just saying yes to it. Like, I'm a great believer in the internet. There's the internet and there's the internet. And, when lockdown happened, and myself and many, we just couldn't travel anymore. Gone. For me, I'd been 30 years on the road, 6 months every year traveling, and just saying yes to invitations to share that felt right in my heart. And so my guidance is wait till people invite you, because then they are ready. And so the main thing is, as Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. So we mind our own business. Our education is mind your own business and be the best example of a loving, peaceful, impeccable being who operates in integrity. Be your best version self. And then this internet will set up opportunities to transmit wherever needs it into whatever field is ready. And the people who aren't ready, they never vibe into your field, or they dip in for a while and go, oh, crazy lady, and run away or say something disparaging, as they do.
But in your lecture at Contact in the Desert, you're going to go through the specifics of this inner activation and this potential, human potential, because you're one of the founders of that human potential movement, because you've been doing it for a long time. So it's the next level coming in. This contact level is an expansion of our human beingness. So you don't have to talk about the specifics of your lecture, but what does the world look like when it all gets turned on? Like, what's your vision of the realities that we can potentially live in as a planetary civilization and galactic civilization?
Well, one of the things we're going to share is about the different types and the Ascended Master Matrix, the intergalactics, those from the unified realms that have trained me, worked with me to how to navigate this on Earth, have basically shown me many things about their star systems. Like, for example, in the Arcturian system, I like this. Their education for kids is so exciting. That number one, their top resource is children. They believe that the children are the most important resource they have, and the most important job is to caretake the next generation. Well, we don't look at it like that on Earth, you know. Our top industries are creating weapons of war and pharmaceuticals and the traffic in women and children for the sex trade. That's where all the money comes, in those three industries. Whereas in the Arcturian system, they're like, oh, our precious commodities, children, but they're all in such a vibratory field of awareness of the intergalactic nature of community. They know that every star system often specializes in something. So they're having fun exploring something in particular. And so with the Arcturians, it's the higher light science and the vastness of creation as well. And the Syrian system, it can be the arts, the music, like the Pleiades. They all have fields of specialty, like Venus, top level. There's so many universities on Venus of incredible education. So the kids on the Arcturian star system, they decide their own educational program according to what interests them. Now, say they're interested in going and hanging out in the Pleiades for a while to learn the specialties of the Pleiadian system. Well, they'll just expand their awareness. They travel. Thought travels faster than the speed of light. They rematerialize, dematerialize. It's more than bilocation and remote viewing. It's an extension out from the Arcturian system to spend time in a holographic representation of themselves in other star systems. When they've gobbled up the specialty, educational specialty of that star system, they'll go on to something else. So they self-educate by knowing what's available to them. And when we know the multidimensional intergalactic communities and what they offer, makes life more exciting. And that's why the kids on Earth are so bored with school right now. Because we have 1 million of these incredible beings as our children who've descended in, who are carrying all the key codes and all the understanding for the building blocks of merging into a more unified state of being.
How do we activate that in these children? This is sort of what Marie Rodwell is doing, but she's talking to them. But what's your plan? Because I think we need a plan to really make contact with ourselves and the planet and our star system families.
Look, the way that I've been trained and what I've come to understand is, don't chase anything. Just let it come to you. I have one rule with the star beings, and they said, Jazz, take yourself into the field of love with surrender and no agenda, and let what needs to come to you. Because it's all frequency transmissioning and biofeedback. We don't have to chase anything. It's like with source feeding. We have this capability. Focus on your frequency. When you can be fully immersed in the baseline of creation, and this is the fundamental frequencies that gave birth to creation, the love, the wisdom, and the power that comes when love and wisdom unify, when you just, I am pure love, I am infinite, I am eternal, drop giving your mind these mantras of focus, okay, because monkey mind likes to distract us. So we use these mantras of claiming, we drop into this silent stillness field of infinite potential. We mind our own business about what's going on in the external world. We allow ourselves to unify, be immersed in, be dominated by baseline energy. Then everything happens with grace and synchronicity and magnetic attraction. And that's what the new kids want. Be who you really are. Wake up, remember who you are, and match us. Because these kids have full awareness of their multidimensional nature, and they're here to stimulate our remembrance.
But you were given this assignment to do this now. Why now? Why is this the moment in history where?
Because we're ready. Look, I'm a supporter, and my reality from my experiences, we're in a triple level ascension. So everything my work is about, and the Embassy of Peace that the light beings asked me in 2007, I was asked on the 7th of the 7th, 07 to set up the Embassy of Peace. And the idea of that was to put myself out of business as an embassy, because we'd come into the vibration of peace. We'd no longer need that. But this came from the Lords of Peace, and they were responding to the heartfelt prayers of the human life wave. You know, I know that when they were monitoring the change at the end of the Mayan calendar, they told me that 95% of people on planet Earth said they were ready to live in the harmonic of peace. They were bored, really bored with the whole duality, war, ego. You know, we've witnessed it for years, and we've been like, yeah, I know that, done. What else is there? And so people, because we were made aware that the Mayan calendar was ending, and it was like, oh, the world going to be obliterated or what, you know? But people got really real and go, if it's the end of something, what do I want as a new beginning? And they really got into silent contemplation in their heart, and they go, oh, I'm so bored with this game of duality and the whole egoic, you know, battle of it and the judgment. You know, I know when I started source feeding, I got so much judgment from people all around the world going, you're a fraud, you can't do this, it's not true, we don't want to be associated with you, all of that, instead of going, wow, how's it possible? Tell me more, right. You know? And more people are saying, tell me more. How is it possible? Can we live in peace? Is there truth to all the ancient scriptures? Is there truth to all the holy texts? What Jesus was talking about? Is there a kingdom of heaven? And is Shambhala real? And what is this Belvedere that the Russians talk about? Is this zone a reality? Is it within me? If it is, I'm tired of thinking about it. I want to experience it. I am ready to be love in motion. I am ready to be peace in motion or in action. I am ready to know experientially the truth of who I really am. Can you say yes, 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 yes?
Beautiful.
And when the human heart goes, yeah, I'm really, really ready, then the quantum field goes, yes, another one has said yes. Now let's vibrate you into the pattern of experience of this heartfelt prayer. That's the secret. But we just got to do it individually, one individual at a time who's ready to unhook from the man-made hologram of the dual-natured world, because we know all about that. And the collective is now, I'm ready for the next level. I'm ready to really experience this, not just talk about it, but really experience. And when you're in sincere-hearted readiness and openness, and you can say, yeah, there's so much I don't know. The more I think the more I realize I know nothing.
I've never asked you, I don't think, how you got into the source feeding. I mean, living off light without food is what Jasmuheen means, that you can actually live off the pulsations of energy all around us and the sun and just the beauty and the How did you tap into that field?
Unintentionally, very uninterested. You know, I've been one of these people who things that come to me come when I least expect it, and often when I'm not interested. And I remember saying to Saint Germain at the time, when I gravitated into the Ascended Master Matrax, why me? And he said, one, because you're so naive. You believe, everyone who's ever meditated has experienced pure love because you have. And that's not true. There are a lot of people meditating using a lot of mental energy, but they haven't really been dissolved into that love and dissolved into that light, which happened to me when I was 16. You know, my very first meditation, my whole being just dissolved into light. And with the light came wave and wave and wave after of just so much love. And for me, it was like, oh my God, I didn't know that was there. I didn't know that was me, because it came from in me. It didn't come from outside. It was just like a blossoming, like a fast forward lotus flower blossoming. And I just dissolved, and I had no hunger. And I was just like, oh my God, I didn't know. And I became so addicted to that divine love. And then I did what my Indian guru told me I had to do to make that a more permanent experience. And that was 20 years of meditation every day, selfless service, using the voice to share truth of my, experiential truth in a loving way. And then I just gravitated into the Ascended Master Matrix, because it was time to fulfill what I had agreed to do before I descended. And that was to step back into this frequency that we knew about in the Essene community, the Cathar community, through the times I've spent in the Gnostic understanding and a life I'd lived in India in that state, and to bring it into the Western world. But when I read about this in the book of Giri Bala, I wasn't interested. I've never been interested in this. I just always saw physical food as fuel. And so I always chose good fuel. Like, I think the next wave now has to be the work of Dr. Zach Bush.
Yes.
Now, Dr. Zach Bush is amazing. Yes. He is talking about all the disease linked to an imbalanced microbiome. See, patterns of energy in revelation, you have to build this pattern before the next can blossom, this pattern before the next can blossom. And while source feeding is coming to those who are interested, and here for those who are brave enough to step into it and do the work, there's many patterns that have to come before that. But first, we have to eliminate all the physical disease that is associated with this. People eating for emotional reasons, the junk food, the processed food. Dr. Zach Bush, focus on his work, okay? When our microbiology and biome is in balance, most of the diseases in our world will disappear, and that means plant-based. So the next pattern we have to step into that's beneficial for Gaia, beneficial for health, beneficial for our world is a plant-based diet. And that's what's taking off now, because it's time for that pattern. So everything has its pattern of energy. And in 1993, I must have been vibrationally ready to spontaneously hook into this source feeding pattern and then study it and understand once it had happened to me, because I didn't know what it is.
It was so important, I think, to bring that level of possibility. Of course, the Taoists had that in China, Bagu, they call it no rice. And I met a bunch of Bagu beings because they were vibrating at that higher level. Someone said to picture eating light. We're here to eat light, to feed the light body. But just to wrap up, because I have this other Zoom, what do you want to leave us with as these words of wisdom? Because your mission now is to start making contact, to turn the world on to what's possible. Tell us how we can start to go down that pathway. I mean, I do it in my book, but I want to know how you do it. What's your approach?
Well, for those of you interested, read Alan's book. For those of you interested, come to Contact in the Desert this year. We're going online for the first time. I was meant to be there physically last year, but that didn't happen. And now it's going online. There's brilliant speakers there, because for me, it's all about when you merge back into a state of oneness with your own pure nature. So there's no ego self, higher self, lower self, personality self, divine self, monad, Atman. There's no separation. There's no higher self, none of that. You are an integrated whole. When you focus on being an integrated whole by your lifestyle, the program we offer in our online courses on that, but we also have a contact course there. And that is all about, number one, you must come into experiential contact, merge state with your own pure nature, because that changes the vibratory field, which then attracts to you beings of the same consciousness. Because as we'll share, and the Contact in the Desert talks about, you can make contact with UFOs who are not particularly conscious, but they've been around longer than us, so they're advanced technologically, and they've been dealing with governments and other factions for a long time in trade agreements. But I think you should go to the best, go to the wisest, go to the most loving, go to the beings who exist in the state we are longing for in our heart, which is a planet of harmony. Like I used to say to people when we saw the Avatar movie, how many of you have seen that? I loved it. These blue beings, blue meaning beings of love, who had such a deep connection with the consciousness of their planet. In this triple level ascension, Gaia is moving herself into another frequency band. So it's an individual ascension, it's a global ascension, and that is stimulating our whole universe to merge on another level, on a multiversal level that we are stimulating by what we're focusing on Earth as well. That's why Earth is so watched by so many beings of light, because they go, ooh, people are rich of heart. We've suffered so much, but we've gained wisdom. We're rich of heart. We're stimulating a whole universal ascension because what we're saying yes to in our hearts or no to. And so I think this is a time we're on a bridge of change from an old limited pattern called duality, of a mass migration into a new pattern called unity, where we bring out the best in each other and we're transversing what we say is the bridge of yes and no. Don't get caught up in mental analysis.
Right.
Okay, that's mixed master blend. You can go deep into, what's happening in the world? People are exiting. Of course they're exiting. They're leaving because their contracts are done. We're in a mass migration of many people going because they're completed what they're born to do. So they'll either come back or they won't. They might go to another star system. So now it's about, what are you saying yes to? What are you saying no to? How are you feeding yourself mentally? Because what you feed yourself with mentally is going to trigger emotions, which is going to trigger a disconnect and a fracturing of your field as you stay in the fear, what's going on? Or by what you're choosing to focus on mentally can bring you into the deepest rhythm of peace. And so you say yes or no. I am done with playing in the dual-natured world. Yes, I'm here, but I can live in the zone of heaven on earth. It's here too. So what do you want to tune into? You have to do the work, because it's your vibratory field, and how you spend your time will determine what zone you are anchoring into and experiencing. Now, the light beings say to me, when you're really in the right zone for you, joy, awe, wonder, it's like your natural state, and you love all sentient life. That's our potential. If we're not quite there yet, keep fine-tuning yourself.
We are doing it. Jasmuheen, it's so great to catch up with you and know that you are still at it, still transforming the planet with ideas and possibility. And it's great to just see you. I'm going to just play a little commercial for Contact in the Desert here. This is it, coming up June 25th to 28th. Online, go to contactinthedesert.com. 42 days left. I'm just going to see if this sound comes through here. Do you hear that?
When you start to ask the question, it unfolds the fabric of space itself, how it's made. What is it made of?
We're not alone in this universe. We never have been.
Alien intelligences have cohabited with us on this planet for millions of years.
We inherited the obsession from the Anunnaki. Anyone that still thinks that we're the ones that are obsessed with gold does not know enough about the true history of our species, how we came to be here, and the conditions that brought us here.
We are not unique in this universe. Extraterrestrials do exist. We are, so to say, the copies of them.
That's Contact in the Desert. I'm going to be there too, giving a workshop on UFOs, consciousness, and quantum physics, talking about my book. And of course, the lovely Jasmuheen will be there spreading the light and the source energy. So let's stay in touch. And as new things come to you, Jasmuheen, let's do more, okay?
Love to, Alan. It's lovely to see you again. And you know, the fact is we are vast, multi-dimensional beings, and the greatest journey we can ever go on is the exploration of who we really are. Because once you know that, you're free. You can relax on Earth.
But it's infinite. Who we are is infinite. And that's the journey.
And that's the fun.
Well, thanks for spending some time here. We'll do it again, okay?
I'd love to. And congratulations on your book. And I'm sure many people will get great benefit from reading it.
I will send you a PDF, okay?
I love that. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, it's a very basic book, but it gets people into the zone. Making Contact, Alan Steinfeld. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Everyone on the chat. We have a nice going chat on my YouTube channel. And we'll be doing more with keynote speakers from Contact in the Desert, including myself. Thank you so much.